So here we are with my son's IROCZ. A little bit on the backstory. I know you guys that watch my channel regular know, but I'll start over again on it. My son's a first sergeant in the Army, and back early in his career, it was either his first or second deployment to Iraq. He comes up to me and wants to build a motor for a Camaro. Not this particular one, but another one. It was a 87 V6 5-speed car that somebody had put a 350 in. And so I told him if he'd buy what I told him to buy, we'd build him a motor. And so we took a 87 up roller cam 350 and built it. It's 30 over. It's got the LT4 hot roller cam from GM in it. And we originally put the 87 up heads on it with an Edelbrock intake and carburetor because my son couldn't afford to fuel inject it, which I wanted him to do. And he drove the car. He got stationed in Fort Drum, New York, and was going to a car show with a bunch of buddies of his, and I'm sure a little bit of cutting up was involved. And he got T-boned by a van. And he had this IROCZ body right here at my house. And so he come down from New York and picked it up and carried it up there and redid the whole car. He started off by having a body shop paint up under the hood. Then he pulled the motor out the other car, put a set of Kenny Duckwaller trick flow heads on it, a stealth ram intake, and proceeded to do a speed density fuel injection harness for it. And so he got all that done and drove it for a while, and life happened. We ended up putting a 4th gen rear end positive traction disc brake rear end in the back of it, and he put these Z06 replica wheels on it. And he got stationed up in Indiana, and he drove the car up there, and then it sat up there, and then he trailered it back here when he got stationed back here, and it's sit here at my house ever since. And it's needed a fuel pump. He got back from his deployment, his latest deployment in Afghanistan, and said, Daddy, what you got? What's it going to cost me to put a fuel pump in that car? And I said, you buy the fuel pump and I'll put it in for you. So that's a little bit of the backstory. So you can tell it's been sitting for a while up underneath his carport. And he's got it partially taken apart because he was working on diagnosing it and everything. So I told him, because all his exhaust is welded up solid, that we would cut a fuel pump access in the trunk here. Well, when I got the carpet out of it, somebody had already butchered this hole up in it. So I wrestled the pump and pickup out of here, and trying to get it back in, I couldn't get all 4 of those lines back crammed through that hole because they're about 2.5 or 3 foot long, and they wrap around the edge of where that shock mount is right there up underneath. So I got the fuel pump back in the tank, but I can't get it turned. It needs to clock this way some, and the lines are catching on the edge of the tank back here where they go in, and I can't get it clocked good. And I've seen several folks, they'll go in here and they'll cut all these lines right here and put rubber in there. Well, this line right here is the pressure line. I don't want to cut it, but I believe if I cut the vapor line, the vent line, and the return line, which none of those are pressure, they've all got rubber hoses on them. I believe if I cut those, then I can maneuver this pressure line around and get it to where the the sending unit will seat down in here, and I can get the locking ring in. And then in the future, if it's ever got to come out, it's going to come out easier, because it was really a pain. I think I actually bent the lines up here a little bit, and that's where the problem's coming in, out trying to get them back in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these 3 lines right here, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, so I got the sending unit back in the tank, and the pressure line's still intact. I cut just a touch off of each one of these other lines, and all we got to do is get some rubber hose and some hose clamps, attach these lines up here, and then hook them back down where they hook to the return, the vent, and the charcoal canister, and then they'll be ready to go. Then we'll patch this big old gaping nasty hole up. So that's what we got right now, and it's on the repair. It ain't far from being done. So let's get some hoses together and we'll show you the car between the tank and the body. And so what I did was I cut the vapor line, the line that goes to the charcoal canister, and the return line, the vapor line, and the vent, because they're all hose clamped with hose clamps up underneath, and I left the pressure hose like it was. So now I've got it all back in there, and I've dumped 5.5 gallons of 93 in it, and we're going to try a first start in over 6 years. So I just put a fresh battery in it, and we're going to fix this, but I wanted to crank it up and see if we got any fuel leaks first before we even worry about trying to fix that mess. So, and the inside of the car is a disaster, because when any of you guys that have moved from a distance, your space is at a premium. So he loaded up a bunch of his stuff inside the car, which was on a trailer, and so this is kind of the way I got it, was full of junk. So we're going to see what we got here. We got lights in the dash. Let's make sure it's in neutral, and it is. And I still don't hear the fuel pump running. So he might have a... I don't hear the fuel pump running. It should be. And he diagnosed it, I didn't. So I guess we need to figure out if he's got a bad fuel pump relay, which is probably going to be another video, because like I said, he cobbled this wiring together himself. I didn't have any part of it. He's complained about that. It's been so long since he did it, he don't remember, and he was having some wiring issues with it anyways. So I guess what we're going to do is go through the wiring on it. I'll see if I can't track down see if I can find a fuel pump relay on it or something, and see what I can do that way. Or I might try to straight wire the fuel pump just to get it running, because I would like to, he wants it at his house, and he lives an hour and a half from me. So I guess that's what we're going to do, is try to get it running. He kind of wants to drive it down there, but I don't know if that's a great idea or not. But, so it's going to take a little bit more than what he thought, because like I said, he diagnosed that I didn't. He told me he needed a fuel pump. So I just went on it from that end of it. So I don't know what's going on here. So we'll just go from there. So I was hoping, his birthday's tomorrow, and I was hoping that I could have got it running for him, at least to let him hear it run for his birthday, but I don't guess that's going to happen. And I mean, it wasn't a terrible thing to put the fuel pump in it, even if he didn't need it, because it's been sitting for so long, it probably needed it anyway. But like I said, I don't hear it. It should, as soon as you turn the key on, you should hear it. I don't hear anything. So I'm sure it's not running. So, like I said, we'll do some plundering around and see if we can find a relay or get some power to the pump one way or another, and go from there. So that's what we got today, and we still got some more things going on. I got the old 68K10 over there. We getting axles in. So got a lot of stuff coming up. Just stay tuned, and we'll show you a lot whenever we get to it. Between making the videos, working and editing the videos, and of course my sorry upload speed, I'll get you some as soon as I can. I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks.